I haven't been this depressed since the big beautiful bill. I haven't been this depressed since my hope that they would ease up on the abuse and give us a planned stasis period with Harris. I haven't been this depressed since realizing, no, they're going to tear it down in 2025 when Trump won. I let myself go into a denial where I thought they would plan a reprieve with Harris. And then when I realized, no, they're really, really going to tear it down, you were right. That was extreme depression and crying and shit. And then when they signed the big beautiful bill, that was crying and shit. I haven't been this depressed since then. I'm going through that again. And all I can say is, for me as one of their victims, I exist in a weird space where when they first did this to me, if I tried to tell somebody who didn't know, they wouldn't believe me. Whereas if somebody's paying attention now, and I explained to them I didn't do anything wrong, I was just innocent and young, and they decided to torture me, they would believe me. Like, so for me, in that sense, it's like a lot of what they did to me has been demolished by this, very obviously, in the sense you can clearly see they're sadists. Like, they literally prefer torturing weak, childlike things. Like, if somebody's actually bad, they leave them alone. And these are all things I intellectually know that they're doing it to me because I'm weak. They're doing it to me because I'm good. And they get an extreme power high being able to say you deserve this. You deserve to suffer. It makes them feel like God. And to see them do it to thousands of other little girls, like you deserve this, you deserve to be tortured, you deserve to starve, you're worth nothing. It gives them like I can't say this enough. This like people try and dismiss this as like, oh, it's just men partying. This was a complex operation. You know, they had like the layers of like Trump's girls where you can say, yes, that's about partying. Like those women are usually, I mean, he had the teen thing, but they're usually older, sophisticated, beautiful. There's nothing nefarious to that, you know? But that's why they have these layers. It's like an onion, the intelligence operation. So the first layer is sophisticated adult women who are beautiful, who any wealthy man would want to party with. Normal. And the models too extensively. Then there's the next layer after that front. And this is what the victims say. They use Trump's operation and the elite models, even though many of these girls were trafficked and abused, it's not like Epstein's girls who were really, really abused very commonly. The kind of trafficking the models and the beauty queens may have suffered is like maybe the modeling agent raped them or they were told to go to someone else, but it weren't like literally passed around. They weren't forced to perform sex acts every day. You know, like what I'm trying to say is the modeling portion and the beauty queen portion was made to suck in more and more normal elites because there's nothing nefarious about it. It's just what you would expect. Rich people with beautiful women, right? And that's the first layer of the onion. Then you get to the deeper core, and then you get Epstein's part, right? And there's absolutely nefarious, right? I can't make this clear enough to you idiots. Like, Epstein didn't pick these girls because they were beautiful. They were pretty girls, but he didn't pick them because they were beautiful. He picked them because they were suitable to torture. Everything about what these girls symbolize is torture. And that's what you see in these emails, torture, 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 choking, choking. Should I cut the head off the shrimp and throw away the body? Like, the girls were picked in a way to think sadism, sadism, sadism. Like, I said this before, like, the reason they look so skinny is they literally would not let them eat. They wanted them to be not just thin, but, like, childlike and weak to symbolize to symbolize weakness. And literally picking girls who were less pubertal. And what they were getting out of that was a god high, right? So they were literally foregoing the pleasure of being with a more developed woman who's experienced with sex to torture a 13-year-old cowering in a corner. You don't think that's just about power? Like, honestly, The only reason they made sure the girls were beautiful is probably because it's an additional power high for them to think this would have been a beautiful woman, and we're destroying her. I guarantee you that's what it was. It gave them a power high to think this child would have grown up to be a beautiful woman with power, and I'm destroying her and raping her. I'm gonna forcibly impregnate her and then send the babies to Israel. That's something they were doing. They were forcibly impregnating these girls to, like, make a super area Ashkenazi race thing, and they were absolutely feeding and feasting on the idea of destroying them, and that's why they did it. They were getting a power high and just the it was almost a snuff fetish, and that's how I know. The reason we don't know more there's no victims is because they killed a lot of them. I'm convinced of that because I can see the aesthetic of the sexual kink ends in death. The aesthetic that would appeal to these psychopaths of these victims will rationally culminate in killing them, right? Because everything about what was attracting Epstein was the idea of taking potential, a girl who's 13 but weak and starved, raping her, torturing her, and finally killing her. That's what he was getting out of it, like a serial killer, and just complete and total domination. They said he was posting with a weird Torah quote about destroying your enemies and raping the women. He was getting that, like, when he was saying that Mark shit, I guarantee you that girl was trafficked from Russia. This dude was a full-on Ashkenazi supremacist. He was a and the thing is, he was so genetically defective, like, he had Klinefelter syndrome. Males with Klinefelter syndrome have intellectual handicaps. Their intelligence may be in the normal range, but they commonly have learning disabilities. Some have profound learning disabilities. Um, they literally are, like, neuter, like, because they have an extra X chromosome, their male sexual development does not happen properly. That's why he had no testosterone. He was weak, like, obviously inbred, you know, and, just extremely weak. And that's the thing, like, that a lot of males who wanna destroy a woman, it comes from jealousy of women, jealousy of the power they have over you. Jealous, like, and, you know, these people are contradictions, like, they are saying that these people are inferior, but then they're begging Putin to give them high quality Russians to become Jews. All ethno-nationalism is like a schizophrenic. You say you're superior, but you desperately wanna be these people. And you get a perverse high, torturing children and snuffing them out. He had a little box in his house in the ocean where they dump the bodies. Anyway, seeing this is emotionally taxing and extremely fucking depressing, but it's for me, it's therapeutic because everything I've been forced to go through is validated, like, they're doing this to me because I'm good. They're what the gratification they get doing this to me is identical to the Epstein plot, the superficialities of less sexual hedonism because I wasn't chosen for my sexual attractiveness at all, whereas these girls were in context forcing them to wear the mantle of weakness to maximize their god high. Whereas I was chosen just for the mantle of weakness, but they get a similar psychosexual high destroying me the way the mantle he made these girls into a child starved, so deprived and tortured until finally she's murdered, and this represents conquest of your enemies. They do this to me, like, that's what they get out of it is, a god high, and what I'm trying to say is, before when I tried to explain this to people, they would, like, assume if they're doing this to you, you must deserve it, because why would they do this to a nobody? But I feel like if people really look at this, they'll see, "Oh, they're just sadists." Like, literally, they like to find someone weak in the population, specifically white females who are young, and, you know, I'm sure these people like Sergey Brin or Mossad, David Baszucki, the pedophile, Mossad, you know, I'm sure they're connected to all that, you know, the weird Ashkenazi supremacist thing. Um, they especially like that victim to feel a god high and symbolize their destruction of America and their dominance over it. And now if people were to look at this, they say, "Oh, they chose you because you're weak and vulnerable and didn't do anything wrong."